Welcome back to UnCloned Team. My name is Audria Richmond and I am your marketing and launch strategist. I would like to welcome you back to this 10-part video series, and I really do hope you have been enjoying the series if you are returning. Now, if this is your first time diving into part 3, but you missed part 1 and 2 and you like, oh my God, how do I get into this series? All you gotta do is click the link in the description wherever you may be watching this video. Now, I'm gonna tell you about how I turned curiosity into profit. Now, the reason I want to talk about this because we always hear this thing, I'm going to show you how to turn your passion into profit. You know, I'm going to show you how to turn your passion into profit. But what if you don't have a passion? Like, you just like, man, I'm curious about this thing, or I'm curious about that thing. Like, you know, I'm curious about socks. You know, can you become a sock genius? Who knows, right? But what I really want to talk about is how I was able to turn my curiosity around photography into a real business without it being my passion. Like, I can say I really like photography. I really liked it enough to really invest in the equipment and do all of that stuff. But I wouldn't say I liked it enough to say it was my passion. It was going to be the thing I do for the rest of my life. Those skills that I've learned doing photography have served me well in business, hence this setup. You know, I've learned how to set up lighting and backdrops and all of that stuff. And that's one of the beauties of when you acquire a skill. But I wouldn't say that I was passionate about photography. I would say I was curious, and I want to talk about how I turned my curiosity into profit. So I was always interested in photography because my mom used to pretty much be the manager of a film developing thing. So like, okay, at Kroger, they used to develop film. And so my mom used to get us these like, you know, disposable cameras, and she would just give them to me and I would take them to school, and I'd be like the camera girl. I'd be around taking pictures of everybody like, hey, you want a picture? Hey, you want a picture? And so I'm taking pictures of everybody. And so I would give them to my mom. My mom would develop, she would give me the pictures and give them back to me. And I'd take them to school and I'd be like, hey, y'all, I got the pictures. And so that was kind of like, you know, where it stopped as far as me being interested in photography. When I became an adult in Memphis, I noticed that a lot of people were taking like high fashion photography, and it was like stuff you would see in a magazine. And so I was able to like re-interest myself or re-engage myself back into photography. Like, I remember taking pictures when I was young, but I'm like, man, I would love to kind of like, I became curious around, man, how do you take photos like that? It's one thing to pull out your phone or your, you know, or your camera and take a picture. But like when you start seeing pictures that's like on magazine covers and stuff like that, you like, man, that's a whole nother level of taking photography. So I ended up asking one of the photographers at the time. He was well known for doing fashion photography. And I was like, hey, I'm really interested in learning about photography. Can you teach me? And he just straight up told me no. He was like, no, I'm not going to teach you how to do photography. And I'm just like, for real? Like, really? And then what's crazy is the audacity for me to get upset that he didn't want to teach me. But the learning lesson was, this was the first time that I was declined of something that I was really interested in learning. And so I didn't let his no stop me from learning photography. So you know what I did? I went to Barnes and Nobles. I bought a book called Scott Kelby. It was a Scott Kelby book. It was like an introduction to digital photography. And I read that book, and that was probably one of the best books I read on digital photography because it spoke to my learning language. It got to the point. Like, it didn't like go on and on and on forever. This was also my first time getting exposed to online training. And the cool thing about when you get exposed to online training, it's kind of like a little world. You start learning about all types of stuff. And so I was really excited about this because when I started like learning all this stuff, I had to learn how to use Photoshop, how to remove blemishes, how to whiten teeth, how to make people skinny. Like, I started learning like all of these crazy things. And I'm thankful for that, because the reason I was able to get into photography, because the guy who told me no it was okay. He told me no, but it forced me to go learn something. And so I really want you to understand that when somebody tell you no, you should just pivot and figure out another way. And then another thing, when somebody tell you no, like if somebody come to me today and they ask me to teach them something that I get paid handsomely for free, I'm going to redirect them to a payment link. And there's nothing wrong with that, because one thing that I've learned over the years is that people are entitled to their decision, their opinion around different things. So if he didn't want to share that with me, that was totally up to him. But I am thankful for my friend Randy, who said, hey, I got a camera. You can use it when I'm not using it. And that's how I really was able to get really proficient and really good at photography. So after I started learning photography, I ended up opening up photography studio in Memphis. My first studio was on Summer Avenue. If you're from Memphis, you know where that's at. And then my second studio ended up being open on Elvis Presley. Now, one thing I want you all to understand is that passion is not always the path to profit, yet curiosity can be a vehicle to get you the same result. Okay. So if you're curious about something, if you want to learn something, then just be curious enough to make it profitable. It doesn't mean that this is going to be your life work. It doesn't mean that this is going to be the thing you do forever. I'm thankful for my photography skills because I still use that skill. Is that my main thing that I do now to make money? No. But if I have a private client who needs me to take a photo, like, I still got my photography equipment. I still can show it with my camera. I still got the eye. I still have that skill set. So be curious enough to turn your curiosity into profit. So I hope you enjoyed this video, because in the next video, yes, I learned this photography skill, and yes, everything was going grand, but I want to talk about when math don't add up. So hopefully you'll be joining us tomorrow in part 4. I really do hope you haven't been enjoying this 10-part video series. If you are just tuning in again, make sure you click the link in the description. If you would like to continue this series, then you can click the link in the description as well. And I just want to thank you for tuning into this series, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day. Peace out.